and various troubles disturb the conditioned souls. Sometimes he loses, sometimes he gains. In either case, the path is full of danger. Sometimes the conditioned soul is separated from his father by death or other circumstances. Leaving him aside, he gradually becomes attached to others, such as his children. In this way, the conditioned soul is sometimes illusioned and afraid. Sometimes he cries loudly out of fear. Sometimes he is happy maintaining his family, and sometimes he is overjoyed and sings melodiously. In this way, he becomes entangled and forgets his separation from the Supreme Personality of God since time immemorial. Thus, he traverses the dangerous path of material existence. And on this path, he is not at all happy. Those who are self-realized simply take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in order to get out of this dangerous material existence. Without accepting the devotional path, one cannot get out of the clutches of material existence. The conclusion is that no one can be happy in material life. One must take to Krishna consciousness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. By thoroughly analyzing the materialistic way of life, any sane man can understand that there is not the least happiness in this world. However, due to continuing on the path of danger from time immemorial and not associating with saintly persons, the conditioned soul, under illusion, wants to enjoy this material world. Material energy sometimes give him a chance at so-called happiness, but the conditioned soul is perpetually being punished by material nature. It is therefore said, Dhandya jhane raja yena nadita chubhaya. CC Madhya 21:18. Materialistic life means continuous unhappiness, but sometimes we accept happiness as it appears between the gaps. Sometimes a condemned person is submerged in water and hauled out. Actually, all of this is meant for punishment, but he feels a little comfort when he's taken out of the water. This is the situation with the conditioned soul. All the Shastra therefore advise that one associate with devotees and saintly people. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lavamatra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. CC Madhya 22:54. Even by a little association with devotees, the conditioned soul can get out of this miserable material condition. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore trying to give everyone a chance to associate with saintly people. Therefore, all the members of this Krishna consciousness society must themselves be perfect sadhus in order to give a chance to fallen conditioned souls. This is the best humanitarian work. Namo Vishwapadaya Krishna Vestai Bhutale Shrimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Van Shakal Padru Vishakri Vasindhavi Vachapati Tanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. One might doubt a little bit this verse, sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koi. Lava matra means an instant of association. Here it says that by one instant, one moment of sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. The whole perfection manifests, is achieved. Now, we need to understand that there are conditions. There is a condition. It's just like if I say, with one spark of fire, the whole grass can be burnt. It's a true statement. At the same time, the grass has to be dry. If the grass is fresh, is wet, you can put even a few matches and they will just go, nothing happens, no fire, it's evoked. So similarly, it's true. One instant of association can change someone's life completely the direction. People are going in this direction, which this verse very graphically describes. Pain and pleasure, mostly pain, but a little relief of pleasure. And Srila Prabhupada gives this example of the king. Sometimes the king punishes a culprit, a criminal, by dunking him into the water until he almost feel to asphyxiate, suffocate, drown. No, put him down until the lungs almost explode, and then he pull him out. So that moment, obviously, there is a relief. So that's the nature of pleasure in this material world. We're always hankering for something, fearing of something, and when we somehow the senses finally, after great efforts, come in touch with the sense object, then we feel, Sometimes this analogy is given. It's like there was a man who was walking in a forest, and then at one point he sees a tiger, and then he starts running away. Tigers are very dangerous. They still kill a lot of people in India. So he starts running, and at one point he sees that there is a cliff, very steep cliff, he cannot run anymore. So his desperation, his mental agony increases, but then he jumps, and he catches a branch of a tree. But then he realizes that branch, what he caught, is not a branch, is a snake, is a cobra. You heard this story? So he holds out to the cobra, and then there's another problem. On the tree, there is a nest of bees. And so they're disturbed, and hundreds of bees, they start biting him. Hundreds of bees. So he's right there. The tiger is looking at him. Now he almost got him. And the cliff is very steep, very, very high cliff. The snake obviously is quite upset, and he starts looking at him with the open mouth. The bees are stinging him. At that moment, from the beehive, one drop of honey falls into his mouth. And he goes, so good, I'm so happy. So this is traditional analogy. So this is what actually is life. No, everybody struggles, everybody has deep aspiration, fears, there is death everywhere around us, there are problems, dangers, but sometimes we get the little drop of honey, and for a moment we think, yeah, I'm properly situated. Life is not so bad. Life is good. Jai. Okay. But see, Srila Prabhupada seems to be inspired in this purport by this word that the Sanskrit is there, sadhu varjitaha, being away from saintly persons. So this happens because we are not in touch physically or psychologically or as submissive disciples to saintly persons, sadhus. And therefore we are in this ocean of duality. The waves just carry us. And therefore it seems, therefore Srila Prabhupada gives the solution. We got to go to a sadhu, and so that we can get out of that. And of course, we heard many times that you go to the sadhu and you listen. I chose for you a few passages I like to share. The first one is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 2, text 24. I find it interesting because the verse doesn't really talk about the sadhu or the guru. It talks about, I read for you, it's as kind of esoteric analogy. Firewood is a transformation of earth. But smoke is better than the raw wood. And fire is still better, for by fire, through Vedic sacrifices, we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge. So wood, smoke, and fire. Then the analogy starts. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas. But goodness, sattva, is best, because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth. So Srila Prabhupada takes that analogy and he projects it on the relation of guru and disciple. He said, anyone, even from the platform of tamas, can gradually rise to the sattva platform by the expert direction of the spiritual master. The bona fide expert spiritual master is competent to direct the disciple from any stage of life, tamas, rajas, or sattva. And we could see, it's quite obvious to remember Srila Prabhupada. People who came to him, often they were really steeped in tamas. As a lifestyle, they'll never bathe. They will have the same clothes for, weeks maybe. Or then they would eat whatever they or we were eating, and then they would smoke whatever they or we were smoking, and like that. But Srila Prabhupada took them slowly, and gave them everything, and some of them became very, very splendid Vaishnavas. Not all of them. Like, you remember when Srila Prabhupada was in the Bowery with that boy? What was that boy name in the Bowery? Anyway, one boy, David, something like that. So he was living in this loft. This loft is a very large room because it was used by artists, so they need space for large canvas. So the loft was divided by a thin curtain. One side was Srila Prabhupada, and one side was this. Let's call it David for now. Maybe another name, but it's not important. And one side by David. And this David was coming closer to Srila Prabhupada. He had Srila Prabhupada in his house, can you imagine? So he started coming to the kirtans, he started time helping the Swami, doing a little services. So Srila Prabhupada, and this was the very beginning, this is before 26 Second Avenue. This was the Bowery. Bowery is a very dirty, filthy place, full of drunks. So, and Srila Prabhupada was hopefully. So he wrote to a good brother or some connection in India. I say, oh, this David is doing progress. I'm thinking to bring him back to India and train him as a Brahmana. Unfortunately, after a few days, and David was taking drugs. At one point, he took too much drug. Of course, any amount is too much, but one was even, by his standards, was too much, and he just flipped out. And he went to Srila Prabhupada with crazy eyes, kind of almost very aggressive. You read, many of you read the Lilamrita, right? He went to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada just ran away. Just ran away in the street in the night. And he called, I think, Mukunda, and then he stayed a few days here and there. That's a famous time when he stayed with Karl Jergens, who was friendly, and but somehow he had cats, and Srila Prabhupada had to keep his food in the fridge, side by side cat food. So anyway, the point was that Srila Prabhupada had high hopes for this David, but unfortunately David did not listen to him, and so he. But otherwise, of course, if one listens, the principle applies that the extra spiritual master is competent to direct the disciple from any stage of life, tamas, rajas, and sattva. And we have the famous example of Narada Muni, when he met that Mrigari. Mrigari literally means, Mriga means animals, Ari means Ari without H. Ari means enemy. So the enemy of animals. That was his name, even his name, no, Mrigari. Can you imagine giving a name like this to a son? Your name is Mrigari. Anyway, so this Mrigari was so tamasic that his hobby, his pleasure, his sport was to half killing animals. Not killing, just half killing. So then when the animals were writhing in pain, imagine rabbits, imagine, I don't know, porcupines, imagine, I don't know, raccoons, whatever was there in the forest. Imagine this poor rabbit half killed, no, it will pierce him with the arrow without killing. Imagine this rabbit. And he would enjoy that. He would laugh. That was his entertainment. Because at the time he didn't have a Netflix. So that was his entertainment. So Narada Muni came and said, oh my God, this guy's, I'm paraphrasing, but this guy is really in darkness. So, but somehow there was a spark of piety. So he saw Narada Muni very splendorous, very tall, very bright. So he was, can I do something for you? He even offered him some skins, because he was a hunter, so he had a lot of skins. Can I offer you some skins? Like furs. And I said, oh, thank you, I don't wear furs. And but since he saw that he was receptive, he said, can I ask you one thing? Can I ask you a favor? Okay, yes, of course. He could recognize this is a holy man. I don't know exactly what was his cultural background, but he understood this is a special person, a master. So then he said, yeah, please, whatever you want. Narada Muni said, look, I'm asking only one thing. See these animals you're off killing? Just kill them completely. Just kill them. And the hunter was surprised. He said, no, but this, why? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? We do it to our family, our father. This is our entertainment, like our family time together, no, our quality time together. Uh, but the point I want to stress is Narada Muni move him to the next step. At least don't make these animals atrociously suffer. Just kill them. I mean, you're a hunter, you have to eat something, so I'm not asking you to become vegetarian. I'm not asking you to become Prashadarians. I'm just asking, at least kill them. At least that karma of the pain, you won't have that. You may have the little karma for killing the animals, but at least you don't have that karma. So he was, the hunter was intrigued, and probably you all know the story, that he became a very super great devotee, so non-violent, so absorbed in ahimsa, non-violence, that when one day Narada Muni came back after some time, Narada Muni and Parvata Muni with his friend, he came, he wanted to pay obeisances, the hunter, now no more a hunter, so then he saw some ants in the path, so he stopped, and with his chadar he cleaned the path, and then he paid obeisances. From enjoying torturing animals to even not want to step on an ant. And we have seen it we have seen people doing all sorts of things, putting all sorts of things inside their bodies, intravenously or through different holes, but then they are very pure. Okay, so in the same chapter, a little later, 1:2:32, there is another similar analogy, and I read for you. This is from the purport. As fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the divine consciousness of man can similarly be kindled by another divine grace. His divine grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from the wood-like living entity by imparting proper spiritual messages injected through the receptive ear. So in other words, there is obviously spiritual life in everyone. There is a New Age saying that goes like, we are not a material being having a spiritual experience. We are a spiritual being having a material experience. So obviously there is, the spiritual life is innate because we are souls. I mean, we are spiritual. So, but now it's cover. Just like wood. Wood, you see wood. I mean, there is so much wood here. You see wood, it's kind of solid state, but there is so much fire already inside. Why there is fire? Because why there is fire in wood? Why there is fire in wood? How the wood grows? By photosynthesis. By photosynthesis. Photo means light, and synthesis means synthesizing, assimilation. So the plants grow by photosynthesis. In other words, they take the sun, which is fire, and ultimately the sun and the light of the sun come from Sudarshan chakra. And I like that here in Zurich you have a very nice Sudarshan chakra, very prominent, very robust. Unfortunately, some temples, they don't even have Sudarshan chakra, but that's a different issue. So, Sudarshan chakra, Sudarshan is the auspicious vision of the Lord, and all the luminaries, explained in 9th canto, all the luminaries comes from Sudarshan. So the light of the sun is ultimately the light of Sudarshan. which is the light, which is also the glance of the Lord. The glance of the Lord that electrifies this cosmos before manifestation. So, Sudarshan is very fiery. He's a person. It's not just a weapon. He's very fiery. Here is the dearmost devotee of Krishna. So the sun is very fiery. He expands this fire, which we can feel by heat, right? You will all feel. When you go in the sun, we feel warm. Then this fire goes into the plant. The plant, through their leaves, absorb this light, and so they grow. So the wood is full of fire. Okay? That's why fossil fuel, petrol, where it comes from? Wood. It's yeah, it's millions of years ago, whatever, this wood became decomposed, liquefied, whatever. But the fire is still there. The fire is still there. So petrol can fuel the machine. It's all fire. Petroleum, that's a Latin name. You know what that means? Petroleum. Oleum, it's oil. Petra means rock. So the Latins will call it the oil of the rock. Petroleum. And in English it became petrol. But the same potency of Sudarshan is still there. And so we can run our cars that go by fuel, fossil fuel. The car, even electricity, is the same energy of Sudarshan, the fire. Okay, so how we got to this fire? So yes, so the soul, the self, is a spark of spirit. So the guru, the sadhu, the guru, they are practically synonymous. They can, see, Srila Prabhupada say, as fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the fire is inside the wood. Like this is wood. This is wood. But it's not fiery. But if you put fire, then the fire in the wood comes out. So when a sadhu is pure, and that fire of bhakti is already kindled, then he goes near somebody who is dry, has to be dry wood, then the fire comes out. Yes?
What does it mean dry?
Dry.
Yes, I know what it means.
Okay, yeah. It means that they are ready. They are ready.
Yes, what does it mean to be ready?
To be receptive. Receptive means to be welcoming that sadhu. Just like when you do book distribution. You ever did book distribution?
Yes.
So you see some people are open. You say, I don't know, what's your mantra? When you sell a book, what do you tell people?
Do meditation.
Huh?
Do meditation.
Do you do meditation? What do you say?
I do it just a few times in my life, actually. I just start people say, hi, how are you? First, and then I talk about the book, what's inside the book.
Okay, so you have people who are receptive. Somehow they're open. And some people were not. They just, I'm not interested. No. Like that. So dry in this, it's an analogy, of course. Dry means ready to be kindled. But by different reasons. Krishna says there are 4 types of people who come to him. Those who are suffering. And if they're pious, they feel to pray, oh God, please help me, like that. Or they're curious how to solve the problems, so they want knowledge, higher knowledge. Or they need money, so also they pray, oh, I have no money, please help me. Or they look for knowledge, they look for the truth, they look for the principles higher than just sense perceptions. So, different people can be dry in different ways. Okay? Now, we hear many times that, of course, the guru is not seen, the guru is heard in one sense, right? The oral reception we get through the ears. At the same time, the sadhu is just brilliant, it's just shining, it's effulgent, even physically, ojas. There is an oja, there is some sort of radiance that comes from the holy person. It's just physical and physiological also. Plus, if there is bhakti, it's even more. There is, I found an interesting passage. This is in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, text 22. No, Canto 3, chapter 22, and text 21. This is the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So it's very instructive in many ways. First of all, Kardama Muni clarifies expectations. He said, look, I'm going to marry you, but once we have a son, I'm taking sannyas. And then when he stopped speaking, the verse say, then when he stopped speaking, he silently smiled. And then Srila Prabhupada says something. He writes, the smile of such a Krishna conscious person is so attractive that simply by smiling he wins so many admirers, disciples, and followers. Simply by smiling. Because the face is the index of the mind. One can see. You can see somebody is angry, all the muscles are tense. And if somebody is laughing, you can see. So many things. Somebody is bewildered, you can see. But if somebody is smiling with this purity, why? Because pure devotees are so absorbed in total Krishna, they have no other engagement, although they may seem to think or act otherwise, they always think of Krishna. Therefore, that smile reflects that connection, reflects that yoga. And people can see if they're really a little bit subtle. If you notice, you have these models, these people who are officially beautiful, but their smile often is not that beautiful because it's full of anxiety. I mean, they have the feature are okay, symmetrical, whatever, everything is in place, but their smile is full of fear. People like, Kim Kardashian, or people like that. If you don't know, don't worry about it. But they smile. If you notice, when they smile, first of all, there is the anxiety they are trying to attract. They try to be liked. They don't smile like this because of internal absorption in Vishnu. They smile so like a commerce, I smile, you like me, you see my TV serial or whatever I do. And plus there is a lot of fear because the smile loses in potency as the years go on. And then they have to put Botox, they have to inject, they have to stretch the skin, they become horrible. Yesterday they gave, I don't know if you read the news, there is this Venice film festival. Ever heard about it? It's probably the second most important after Cannes. So anyway, there is this festival going on, and Kim Novak was an actress, very famous. She's now 92, and they gave her a prize for career. No, sometimes when these actors are very old, they say, "Okay, take this prize." Uh, no, because they say you have been contributing to the arts like that. And I saw her, I was shocked. The photo, she's like a monster. Now, obviously, she did so much surgeries to her face. I mean, she's 92. How beautiful a woman can be at 92. But she was monstrous. I was kind of shocked. And she was one of the most beautiful, officially beautiful women in Hollywood, Kim Novak. And now she's... But you can see Srila Prabhupada, even when he was 75, 80, sometimes he didn't have a tooth or two, right? You saw those pictures, he doesn't have. But his smile is so radiant. And people were in their 20s, they were attracted by Srila Prabhupada. So sometimes just a smile can say a lot about the person. And the soul feels, wow, this smile is something different. I want this. What this person has that I don't have. And sometimes the person doesn't have anything materially, but just a smile conquers people. Srila Prabhupada says, I repeat because I like it very much. Just by smiling, he wins so many admirers, disciples, and followers. So different category. Disciples are really serious. Admirers say, well, he's a nice person. And followers, they may not be disciples, but they are listening like that. Okay, so I wanted to bring up something a little sad. Can I? Okay. So sometimes, see, these followers don't remain followers. Of course, if the only thing they understood is the smile, that will not protect them very, very deeply. But even if sometimes they read the books like that. I mean, frankly speaking, sociologically speaking, like here, I mean, some of you, I know when you joined, but here and in other parts of the world, they were very influential, charismatic, spiritual leaders. Here there was a leader and people was really dedicating their life. They were working so hard to please him. And I'm sure they must have understood something about, there was a big book distribution. There was at one point, then it's not anymore the record, but it was there was a record. Yes?
But where? It was in ISKCON?
No, in ISKCON here, in Zurich, in this room, in this, I don't know if on this piazza exactly, but but no. And this was the center of book distribution. There was the world records of books distributed in one day, more than 900 by Harinamananda Prabhu. Once we were driving up from Ticino with Bhaktialabhya Prabhu, and he showed me, you see, that town, that's a holy place. That's where Harinamananda one day did more than 900 books. In one person, one day. He had a couple of assistants just to carry the books, but he was just stopping people and selling. It's like, if you calculate, I mean, if you do 9 hours, it's like 100 books an hour. It's more than one book a minute. It's like, it's almost inconceivable. How do you sell one book a minute for 9 hours? Of course, sometimes 2, 3, but still, it's like inconceivable. Anyway, so there was so much commitment, so much. When did you join, Prabhu? Huh? After. So, anyway, he did a lot of service for Srila Prabhupada, this leader. So, my point is that then what I hear, especially after touring Germany, I already knew, but after touring Germany, they tell me that when he left, he had these spiritual problems. It's understandable. So in 98 he left. The problem is that what I understand, what they tell me is that most people also left, most of the disciples also left, which is very sad because we can understand, it's already sad the spiritual leader has a problem. It always happened, it's not like a new thing. There is an associate of, very important associate of Lord Chaitanya, Narahari Sarkar. We sing in Sandhyarti, Narahari Hadikari Chamaradulaya, is a very important associate. So he wrote a book, the Krishna Bhajanamrita. And in that book he wrote how the disciple should deal with the guru who is fallen. So obviously there were fallen gurus also at the time of Lord Chaitanya. It's not that it's a new thing that gurus have a problem only in ISKCON. It's not we don't have the monopoly of fallen gurus. So, by the way, he said two things. If the guru is fallen but lightly, the disciple, now is more serious, senior like that, he should rebuke the guru and say, hey, what are you doing? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but say, Guru Maharaj, come on, this is what you taught me. This is not. You can do much better than this. Maybe he started smoking or something, whatever. Start drinking some harak or something. Whatever. So if he's kind of fallen but not completely lost, the disciple should be very strong and say, hey, Guru Maharaj, this should stop now, okay? I'll take you to Vrindavan, let's go and do pilgrimage, something. But if the guru is super in Maya, means he became a Mayavadi, he completely lost even the Krishna consciousness, then the disciple should just cut the relation and go. Yes?
Good question. So, if the guru is little bit fall down, yes, so the disciple should try to rise him up, yes. But if the guru still say, no, I don't want that, I don't want to go to Vrindavan, for example, then what should do the disciple from the guru? He should still follow the guru, or
you can still keep the relation. Follow. Is not really exemplary at the moment.
follow, I mean, because you have this mantra, yes, you chant every day, you pray to your guru, yes, 3 times a day, something like that.
Yeah, you remember the guru, meditate at least 3 times a day, yes. 3 Sunday.
If your guru is fall down, you have to still do that, yes?
You can remain grateful to your guru for all that he gave, because he gave you so many things. Of course, every guru is different, every relation is different. But the guru, if it was bona fide guru, obviously that was the premise, he gave you so much. So you remain grateful to this person who taught you the Gita, taught you the Bhagavatam, they help you with your personal problem. Whatever the guru did for you, you remain grateful. But you may not take him as an exemplary source of knowledge or behavior, and obviously his advice will not be considered pure if he himself is in a weak state. So there are many shades, many degrees of being fallen or being unable to give instructions and so on. No, we are here to discuss these things. It's not a disturbance. I'm just saying that there is not like one size fits all. Every situation is a little different. Huh?
It's a long topic actually, so
It's long or short, but there is variegation, there is variegatedness. So why this happens? I mean, why this happens? The fall down, it happens because Maya is strong, and if we are not very, very careful, we can fall down. That is kind of known. Well, why this happens that sometimes, even after accepting a leader, if the leader goes, also the disciple goes. So then I was thinking of this, and one reason is that there are different psychologies, different mentalities, according to the different divisions of Varnashram, especially Varnas. So different people make a decision based on different consideration. So Shudras focus on people. In fact, you can see even in the say literature, you see that generally what they call it tabloids. There is this magazine. There are some magazines that just talk about people. There is one famous one in English is called People. Just the title is People. and you can generally, very simple people read those type of magazines. I'm sure there must be also in Switzerland some magazines that just talk about people, who marries who divorces who. No, football players, tennis players, actors. It's just about people. In fact, was I think Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of Roosevelt, president of America. She said, I believe, or maybe somebody else. Anyway, somebody said, intelligent people. I'm paraphrasing, but the idea is that intelligent people talk about ideas. Less intelligent people talk about events, and even less intelligent people talk about people. So Shudra by nature, and you know this is a default setting for this age, Shudras talk and think about people. Like for instance, a Brahmana, when he has to make a decision, and a Brahmana by nature, by training, I'm not saying somebody who has a Brahmin thread. Brahmana evaluates by Shastra, by philosophy, by truth. If he's a devotee, will think, what in this circumstance, what pleases Krishna? Is this online with Krishna? Krishna's teachings, parampara, acharyas. A kshatriya tendencies to evaluate according to justice, strategy, duty, because the kshatriya have to keep the law in a country, in a place, in a city. So they think that's the lenses. Is this proper? Is this right? Is this lawful? Or is this strategic? In the long term is good. A Vaishya evaluates in terms of profit. Does this bring money or not? That's like the default setting for a Vaishya. Is it fruitful economically, financially? Stability, growth, that's a Vaishya. And a Shudra thinks, do I like this person? Do I trust? Do I feel safe with them? So there is a like and dislike orientation. So Brahman asks, is this idea true? So they are concept driven. A Kshatriya think, is this action just and effective, like more like duty driven or law driven? The Vaishya asks, is this profitable and secure, safe? In other words, is result driven. So these three are dvijas in Vedic culture. That dvija means twice born. They've been purified. They go to Gurukula. They all go to Gurukula. The Shudra asks, do I like or I dislike this person? That's what. So it's relationship driven. Obviously, everybody has relations, but the Shudra, because it's dependent, psychologically dependent, he makes a decision according to if he likes a person or not, like that. So unfortunately, it appears that when the person is gone, also the Shudra is gone, because the person is not there anymore. There was the person who was driving the relationship. If the person is gone, the relationship is gone, everything is gone. For a Brahmana, yes, a Brahmana may feel sad. Okay, the guru has a problem, is gone, but nothing changes. I mean, the laws of bhakti yoga, Srila Rupa Goswami, the Shastra doesn't change. Nothing changes. But for the Shudra, because it's dependent, everything changes. If a person collapses, everything collapses. So I'll stop here. Should I stop completely, or there is a time for little questions and answers? Okay, so if there's any questions or reflections, observations, realizations, insights, perplexities, doubts.
Yes, it's essentially very sad, Prabhu, what you say for me, and yes, now I have a feeling like also some other Prabhus was talking last time about when someone falls down and so on. Now we even say that when Shichidananda Prabhu was here, so people often fall down. He's really
Some, and it was not like a pandemic of falling down. Yes.
but even some fall down. Even when Krishna was here, he would fall down. Yeah, it's making me really sad, and I think like my experience is you have strong intelligence to don't fall down, like and believe to follow the scriptures because
Can I jump in an interjection point?
of course
See, intelligence is useful, obviously. Intelligence means discrimination, knowing what's right, what's wrong. But we have seen in the history of this movement, almost 60 years, that many intelligent people also fell down or left for whatever reason, deviated in many ways, not only sensual weakness, but they went here and there and everywhere. They adopted strange philosophies. Very intelligent people means people with high IQ. So intelligence is very important, but we also seen simple people, frankly, not very intelligent in the sense of intellectual capacity, and not very educated, who stayed very, very steady. I know some disciples, Srila Prabhupada, that, and they know, they're not so smart in the philosophical sense, but they're half a century, they've been steady. So I'm not trying to diminish the importance of intelligence, of course, but there are more important things. That sense of humility, that sense of sincerity, that sense of identity. In other words, who am I? I am the servant of Srila Prabhupada. I'm the servant of Krishna. So if somebody has got that deeply inside, then he's protected. And the goal is not to become sad. The goal is to become alert. Because Maya never goes on vacation. She's always there, 24/7. And if it's not this Maya, it's another Maya. There are many, like television channels. How many channels you have nowadays? 200, 300. I don't know. Sometimes there are. I remember when I go to my when I went to my mother, she has this channels. There is channels on everything. One channel just on fishing. The whole TV channel is on fishing. I mean, she wasn't fishing, but I'm just saying there are so many mayas and subtle mayas, philosophical mayas, theological mayas. So the goal is not just to be sad, but to be alert that there are so many mayas, and therefore we sing this song, no, Sri Guru Charanarati, stay low at the feet of the Guru. Then, and we have seen that so many devotees who actually their Guru left, they didn't leave. I know many. One Guru left to create another Guru. The Guru also left. But they're still going strong. They're like impervious to Gurus falling down. Some they become a little cautious to accept another Guru. They become a little bit. Pardon?
Especially after the third conference.
Yeah. So, but they're in Krishna consciousness. Sorry, but you didn't finish. I just wanted to make that point.
No, that's everything okay. You explained it to me totally. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much. I have just one question, but maybe some others first. I don't know how much time.
I don't see many hands up, but oh, you have? Sure.
Thank you so much for your session. Sometimes when we hear this analogy and we are living actually a quite happy life, as a devotee, we think it's not so
Relevant.
I cannot sign this.
Huh?
So I cannot sign this analogy that it's right. So how would you open our eyes actually that we see that it's actually like that, full of miseries?
Oh.
You were putting this analogy of the
Yeah.
person who is hanging on a tree.
Yeah, that's of course is a very graphic and extreme. Sometimes it takes a little intelligence even to see the danger or we could say, the awkward situation we are in. It's like you see some people with a mohawk. They call it mohawk. Huh? How they call it when they shave the side of the head and they have spikes on the head because they put what do you call it, gel. They put gel, and on top of that they make it green, right? And they feel it's completely normal. It's actually pretty cool. They don't feel I look like a madman. They think it's pretty cool. I'm actually breaking new ground. I'm actually expressing my personality. This is one example. Or people who smoke. It's right there on the packet of the cigarette that they have these horrible pictures, also in Switzerland. Huh? In Germany, I saw one packet. There was somebody with the neck. They had a hole in the neck because of the surgery. In India, they put something on the packet of cigarettes. Horrible. Still, people smoke. So my point is this: it takes a little perception to understand how precarious is our situation. Sometimes the example is given of the goats. There's a line of goats outside the slaughterhouse. They're just in line to be, and they may even see the goat ahead to be chopped off. The head was chopped off, but there they give them some grass to keep them calm. They enjoy. This grass is really, really good. So they think only of the grass. In 5 minutes, their head will be chopped off, but they think only of the grass. So there is a famous verse in Mahabharata, the story that there was a yaksha that was asking questions to Maharaj Yudhishthira. And then he asked at one point, what is the most astonishing thing in this world? What is the most flabbergasting things in the world? And Maharaj Yudhishthira said, Ahani, ahani bhutani gachanti yamalaya shesha sthavaram icchanti kimascharya mataparam. Ahani, ahani, every day people die. Gachantiya Yamalaya is more poetic. They go to the court of Yama, but they die. Every day people die. But those who stay, Shesha, those who remain, Stavaram Ichanti, they desire stability, they desire permanence. They see everybody dies. They see my grandfather died, my grandmother died, the other grandfather died, the other grandmother died, my father died, or somebody else's father died, and the mother died, and people are dying every day. You read newspaper, you know people are dying every second. But Shesha Stavaram Ichanti, they still say, no, I'll be on track. This will not happen to me. Or even if I understand it happened to me, but I don't think of it. So Yudhishthira asked a rhetorical question. Kimascharya mataparan. What could be more astonishing than this? That in this, what the Christians say, in this valley of tears, right? The Christian, I don't know if anybody's from Christian background here. The valley of tears. In this place of death, where we are all condemned to die. Not only to die, but sooner or later, I wish you all the best, touch wood, Krishna forbid, sooner or later, almost everybody gets sick. And it's not pleasant. And the youth, the strength, the youth, the vigor goes. It just goes. Now we have some athleticism, some agility, some attractiveness, but that will go. There's nothing we can do about that. So if you are a little bit, like you are, I'm sure, if you are a little bit reflective, then you see that it's just like the person who falls from the 28th floor and thinks, so fresh air. It's such a nice view. But, in a few seconds, it will be crashed, smashed. It will be a bloody pulp of an ex-person like that. So that's why, in fact, Srila Prabhupada starts the purport, if you noticed, saying this: by thoroughly analyzing the materialistic way of life, any sane man and woman can understand that there is not the least happiness in this world. And to summarize, see, there are three phases of pain. One, the pain of wishing to obtain something. It could be money, it could be a university, what do you call it? No, not even before degree, when you get accepted, admission. It could be a university admission. It could be a boyfriend. It could be a girlfriend. It could be a vehicle, cars, bikes, bicycle, mountain bikes, whatever. So that's a pain. When desire means pain, right? Desire is pain. Desire means I feel something missing. So desire is pain. Then, if, not always you get what you want, but if you get what you want, then there is the pain of fear, because you may lose that. You have a nice boyfriend, but there's so many girls around, ruthless girls. They try to steal him. So you'll always be in fear. What do you have in your WhatsApp? Who is this Elisa? Who is this Jasmine? Who is this Eleanor? No, this is a friend of my grandmother. You know, so it's a fear, 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 fear. Huh? Jealousy. That's just one. We could expand. Like you have a job, you look at the newspaper, people are losing jobs, they may fire you. So, first, the pain of desire. Second, the pain of fear. And third, because absolutely scientifically you will eventually lose whatever you have, then the pain of loss. Because you love your mother, your father, then they will live one day, they will live. And whatever we have, at one point, will live. Sometimes it's not even so drastic or spectacular. It's like many men. Men, they like to be useful. At one point, they had to go, they had to retire. It's such a loss. They were maybe a manager, they were boss in the office, and now you're nothing. You're sitting with your dog in a little park. Imagine the pain. You were somebody, and now you're nobody. And your teeth. At one point, you will lose your teeth. Or the teeth will start. Anyway, so there are three phases of pain, and there is no escape. So if you analyze sincerely, with cool mind, you see that this world is painful. And with this encouraging thought, we, we close the Bhagavatam class. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Shiva Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai. Yes, 7 o'clock. Varnashram without Gurukula is just a hobby.
Would you like to provocate?
Huh?
You like provocation or no?
Oh yeah, 100%. He knows my Enneagram, so he knows. So, and we will need the screen, possible.
I will be on the altar.
Oh,
Anybody? It's a difficult process. It's incredible, actually.
it's a difficult process to bring the screen.
To bring it, that's easy.
No,
Connections, like the connection is always a difficult part. Right?
but I already used it a couple of times.